Greetings, Deep Dive Podcast listeners. This is your boy, Sam Orum, coming at you with another episode of the Deep Dive Podcast. Man, we've been rolling throughout 2022, and now here we are in 2023. Happy New Year to everybody. Happy new money. Happy new success. Everything that you need. Pray that you have those things in 2023. We're going to have a great year this year. We have a lot of things planned, not just with the podcast, but just life in general. We've done so much in terms of empowerment for people, and we're really looking forward to a great year. And I wanted to start the year off talking about how to accelerate your success. Before I get into that, though, for those of you who have been following the podcast, we're in season 3 now. I can't believe it, but we've had some incredible success. For those of you who have been following, thank you so very much for your continued support in following the podcast. For those of you who are brand new, welcome to the Deep Dive Podcast. We know that we have new listeners, even a new country that's on board. So we're excited about that. Welcome all of you to the Deep Dive Podcast. Look, we're going to talk a little bit tonight about how you accelerate your success, not just for 2023, but just in general. I know there's so many people. We talked last week about a lot of people being stuck in terms of their goals. A lot of people feel like they're being stuck in terms of their lives. Well, we wanted to kind of expound upon or kind of get a little bit beyond that message and take that next step in terms of how do you accelerate your success now that you understand what you need to do to become unstuck, if you will, to move from that place. And if you did not hear that episode, it was last week's episode. So go back and take a listen. But now that we've moved beyond that, or we're moving beyond that, we want to be able to accelerate your success in 2023 and beyond. These principles that I want to share with you tonight, it's not just about, this year. I'm a big believer in resolving what you're going to do every single day, not just at the beginning of the year with New Year's resolutions. I'm looking at how can you resolve to be the best that you can be every single day. So for me, I don't make New Year's resolutions. I make everyday resolutions. I resolve to be great every single day. And some of the things that I'm going to share with you are some of the reasons why, and will help you accelerate that process. Remember, we're talking about, the next step beyond being stuck. That is to how do you kind of make this process go by a bit quicker. One of the things that you want to do, and you want to do this right away, is to remove everything from your life that's not contributing to your goals or not a part of your purpose. Okay, remove everything from your life that's not a part of your goals or not contributing to your purpose. Now, I wanted to talk about that first because for a lot of people, it may be some of the hardest things, one of the hardest things to do. And then, the second thing is because, some of the stuff that you may want to do or people that you want to be a part of your life, sometimes you just have to shake the tree, as we call it, and allow some of those people to not affect what it is that you're doing. You're going to have to remove everything. I didn't say something, remove everything that is not contributing to your goals or to your purpose. Now, when we're talking about removing things, we're not talking about, if you're married, we're not talking about removing your spouse. It's removing a mindset, right? It's getting those things that's causing you not to succeed. You got to grow above and beyond those things, even if it comes from your spouse or your kids or your parents, whoever it may be. You have to build your mindset, build your capacity beyond those challenges. And then obviously for negative, toxic people and negative, toxic things, you immediately have to remove those things from your lives. It just goes without saying. So you certainly want to be able to do that. You want to do that right away. It's very important. Sometimes, and I've said this in previous episodes, there are a lot of people who I enjoy being around, a lot of my friends, a lot of my girlfriends, a lot of my guy friends that I like to just kind of be around or whatever the case may be. But I don't be around anybody that's going to affect my goals, my purpose, my life plan. Or if I'm around them, I will not allow them to affect what it is that I'm doing. They get what I call the spare time. If you want to hang out and play video games or go to a bar or do whatever the case may be, I'm happy to do that with anybody, but in my spare time, it's not going to affect the primary goal or purpose. You have to be conscious of that all the time. And then, it's a lot of times, I know I'm going to get it when I say this. I say it seems like I say this on every podcast, but I have to be truthful and honest. A lot of times I've been in past relationships that did not work out, right? And those relationships did not work out for me because, she wanted to be all booed up and I'm trying to work. I'm trying to build an empire. I don't have time to be booed up watching mud deer. I got to go out and get it, and it's very difficult a lot of times when you have a significant other or wife or whatever it may be, and a husband, it could be a husband, whatever it may be, but you know, they need time. You got to have that balance, right? They need time, but then you're talking about building an empire, so you have to be creative in how you effectively eliminate certain things or balance other things. Okay, we're gonna be booed up on Mondays and Wednesdays, and these other days I got to go out and build this empire. I can't sit around with you all day watching Madea and all this other kind of stuff that ain't bringing no food in the house. I got to go out and get it. Now that's just me. That's my personality. That's who I am. Other people, whatever works for you, it works for you, but you have to find that balance. That's my point. Um, I remember one of my good friends. It was a very similar situation, but it was with the kids, and we were on the road a lot. We were on the road building and working and doing a lot of things. And you got young kids at the house, and kids they need time with their parents. And one thing that I saw one of my business partners do that was extremely effective, and I really appreciated. He's like, got the kids, gather them around the kitchen table, got the calendar, and say, "Hey, look, okay, daddy has to be here such and such day, such and such week, whatever it is, but what do we want to do and when do we want to do it? Is it Disney World or Disneyland, or want to go to a movie, or what is it that we want to do?" And so we actually outlined with the kids what they wanted to do. And then they set dates. They set dates right there. Okay, well, this day we're going to the movies. This week we're going to Disney World or whatever. And they scheduled it out. What happened is now the kids, they expected those days that they would have those particular activities. But in the meantime, when daddy is away building the empire, then, they understand. They didn't bug him. They didn't do anything. They just look forward to those particular days. Now, you got to remember, first of all, you got to honor those days because kids are not going to forget. They going to remind you every day what you got planned for a month from now. So don't get it twisted. This is not a delay tactic. This is actually you're scheduling this time with those kids, and you have to honor that. That brings forth respect in the household. Same thing with your spouse, your wife, your significant other, whoever it may be. I'm not saying be so regimented that every little thing has to be scheduled, but the point I'm trying to make is you have to have some kind of balance. And if everybody understands that balance, the wife understands that I got to go out, I got to build this empire. I can't be booed up all day and all night. I got to do certain things. Okay, they understand, but you got to give wifey her time, right? Kids have to understand, hey, look, daddy got to go out and daddy got to go build his empire. But this is your day, this is your time, and nothing comes before the family's day and time that has been outlined. All right. So hopefully that'll help a little bit. Then you also want to set up your life on your own terms. I'm talking about you. We talked about this last week. What's important to you? Set up your life on your own terms. What are the things that's important to you? Once you remove a lot of negative people and a lot of distractions out of your life, then you can begin to kind of speed up the process because you're focusing in on your goals. You're not having to worry about, toxic people over here talking about this and that and thus all this other kind of stuff. You just don't have time for it. Non-productive stuff, you just don't have time for. So once you free yourself of all of those things, then you have a lot more time to expedite and speed up your goals and your game plans. I believe, and I'm a big believer in this in terms of connecting with the right people to expedite your process to success, whether that's mentors, whether that's mirroring people. In other words, finding people who have done certain things that you looking to do, and you just mirror some of their success. I truly believe in that. In the book, most of you, a lot of you have gotten it. My book is called The Mindset of a Champion. And if you haven't, you want to grab that book. In one of those chapters, it talks about that mentorship and mirroring people. That condenses the time frame. For me, I've said this in the past, but I think for me personally, one of the quickest ways to learn something is for me talking to older people who have experienced things that I don't care how much education you have, I don't care how much Google you do, I don't care any of those things. There's no substitute for life. There are no substitutes for living. And inevitably, when I speak to people who are my senior, right, they give me tidbits of wisdom that you can't find anywhere else. You can't find it in a book. You can't find it in Google. It is just life. You just don't understand it until you live it. And people who have lived it, they can share it, right? So you start to connect with people who are the right people, mentors who can tell you yes or no or maybe, or give you other food for thought. I'm a true believer in that. I've had multiple mentors throughout my life since I was about 18 years old. I've had multiple mentors that each contributed something in my life, and it condensed the time frame because they can, help me avoid pitfalls or, the long path, if you will. So connecting with the right people, that's very, very important. Also defining what does success mean to you? Again, we touched on this last week in the previous episode, but what does success mean to you? For every person, it may mean something different. It may mean something different. You have to be very clear on what it means to you. And the reason remember, we're talking about expediting your path to success. How do you get there as quickly as possible? Well, if you have clarity of your goals, if you have clarity of who you are and where you want to be, then that gets you on your path a whole lot quicker. All right. And because success means something different to different people, even in mentorship, a good mentor won't make their goals your goals. A good mentor will help you accentuate and understand your goals, your path. What does it mean to you? It may mean something different to me. My goal is, financially is billionaire status. And I'm not going to stop until that happens. Well, why? Some people are like, I don't need $1 billion, so why would I teach them and try to share with them the values or the process to becoming a billionaire if their goal is not to become a billionaire? You meet people where they are. You have to define who you are and what you want first. And then when you're conversing with people, mentors, people or places of worship, things of that nature, and you've defined who you are, then now you can accelerate that process by giving them a template in terms of what are you looking to accomplish. That's going to be very important. It's also important as you set your goals, making sure that your goals are clear and concise. There can't be any ambiguity with your goals. They have to be clear. They have to be concise. And the one thing as a part of your goals is to make sure you have a very specific and clear action plan, a game plan, if you will. You can't have one without the other. A goal without a game plan is just a wish list or a dream. It's not going to happen. You have to have an action plan. You have to have a plan that will sustain that particular goal. But that goal has to be very clear in order for you to get a clear action plan, a clear plan to accomplish those goals. So as we talked about in the past, it's like, okay, I want to be a singer. Okay, well, what does that mean? Be more specific. Are you a gospel singer, a jazz singer, R&B singer, blues? What do you want? What is it? And you start to break that down to the nth degree. I want to build business. I want to be successful in my business. Well, what does define success in your business? What does that mean? Does that mean you're profiting 5 figures per month, 6 figures per month, 7 figures per month? What does that mean? So you set those goals and make sure you have a very clear action plan to fulfill those goals. There's something in business, it's in a lot of different things, but one thing that in business is called the 80-20 rule. And that's basically spending 80% of your time in activities that are productive. Okay. 80% of your time in activities that are productive. The other 20% of your time will be everything else. Okay. Whatever everything else may mean. So if you're being productive, that doesn't necessarily mean, just, well, let me put it in the positive. That means doing things that will advance your agenda. That's what productive activities and a productive agenda is, and you can't be productive, just always on social media unless it has something to do with your business or, being booed up, as I call it. Well, I don't know. Sometimes that may be productive because a happy wife is a happy life. But things that will advance your agenda, those are productive things. That's the 80% that we're talking about, and 20% everything else. Now, a part of being productive, though, you got to remember, is still managing, and focusing in on good health. So many of us, I put myself in this category, um, we don't do enough to take care of our health. And you have to understand that in order to achieve at a high level, you have to have a certain level of health. Now, when I say that, I don't do enough in terms of my health, I'm talking about, for me specifically, I need to work out more. I need to be more active. I travel a lot, so I'm in different time zones. That means I'm eating different times of the day, sometimes depending on the time zone. My body may be eating something late at night based on the time zone, all of these type things. I, as a business owner, I, as someone who may be traveling a lot, I need to do a better job of taking care of the health, understanding that, okay, if you're going to have a certain type of eating regimen, you need to make sure you account for traveling through time zones or continents or whatever the case may be, eating properly, being properly hydrated. These things help in terms of you being whole so that you can expedite the process to success. Imagine if you just shut down for a week because your body just shut down on you. You were tired or you got the flu or whatever it may be. So not being healthy or at the optimum levels of health, those things can slow down the process to you getting to your success. And you want to do everything that you possibly can to get to your goal and your success as quickly as possible. Whatever it is that success is, you want to get there as quickly as possible. So don't minimize your health. We have a product with my company called Immune Defense, and I take that product religiously because it is about 15 different cocktails of natural vitamins and things that your body may need. That keeps me going in a natural way, whether it's elderberry or echinacea or zinc or vitamin C, DB, all of these things. It helps keep my body strong and active, but it also helps keep my mindset strong and active so I can focus that 80% of the time on productive things. By the way, I know a lot of times people hear me, I kind of jokingly talk about I don't talk on the phone a lot, but this is a perfect time to explain why. It's not that I'm trying to be antisocial. It's not that. For me, I can converse or communicate with 3 or 4 people during the same time, just texting back and forth. Whereas if I'm on the phone, and I'm engaged in that conversation, I'm just engaged in that conversation with that one person. And that's okay in certain situations. But for me, I'm more productive when I'm not on the phone because I can multitask even in conversations. I can return a quick message or I can return a quick email. I can do this or that. I'm maximizing that 80% of the time being productive. So, I joke about it a lot. It seems like I'm being antisocial, but for me, in my mindset, I'm being more productive. I genuinely can communicate with 3 or 4 people during the same 30 minutes that I'm talking to one. Okay, so for me, that's what productivity means. Am I moving the pendulum forward? Am I moving my agenda forward by the activities and the things that I'm doing? That's very, very important. And again, a part of that is removing the distractions and all of those other things. When I talked a little bit about, your mentors and, just being around people that mirroring people who have had success. I know that one of the people that I study a lot, and I even mentioned some of the studies in the book, is Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry. These individuals, I look to mirror some of their ideologies because they have perfected a system of success that a lot of people just miss. Success is a system. It's all about a system. And they have perfected that system. And I study that. I study that system. And as I continue to pursue my growth curve, you know, what helps me with the time frame is being able to see this person and, you know, mirror this person. You can call it copying, you can call it mirroring, whatever you want to call it. But in other words, you're condensing your time frame just by not reinventing the wheel. You're going out and you're seeking and looking for something that's already worked. And even if you're improving upon it, I've done that a lot. I've taken things from other people in terms of mentors or people that I've mirrored, and I've gotten the best. As one of my friends say, you know, you chew up the meat and spit out the bone. I've taken the best from those individuals, and then I may have improved upon it, and it made me a better me. So you want to learn from the best. So let me ask you a question. Does your version of success, does that require you to learn something new? If it does, if you want to get there quicker, then you may want to, you know, get into workshops or meetings or conventions or events. Two schools of thoughts, though. You want to get the information. You want to learn from workshops and you know, seminars and, you know, all these kind of things. But that is still activity. I want to warn you on that. That's still activity. It only becomes productivity when you take those things that you have learned, right, and you put them into action in some way, shape, or form. If you were on last week's episode, I talked about my friend that had all these business cards and never called anybody until, you know, it kind of called him out on it. It's the same kind of notion. Just because you go to a seminar, you're paying for a seminar. You know, I went to Anthony Robbins Master University, whatever it's called, years ago, and I learned so much. And you know, learning from different seminars and presentations and networking events and all these kind of things. But what good is that if you don't act upon it? That's still activity. So now that you got all of this knowledge, what are you going to do about it? Right? So you learn from the best, but then you have to execute through productivity, through productive activities to in order to move forward, in order to move forward quickly. So you got all of this information from a seminar. I know people who spend thousands of dollars on seminars. People have paid thousands of dollars for my executive coaching. But one of the things that I tell people every time at the end of the coaching session, now that you have this information, what are you going to do? You have a whole bunch of stuff in your head. It's like having the answer to every question, but nobody ever asks you a question. How are you going to use it? You need to find a way to be productive, even in your education, even in learning from the best. You have to figure out a way to now take that knowledge, take that information, and be productive. Okay. Get you a coach, get you a mentor, get someone that you can learn from, and you know that you can genuinely share with, converse with, and just kind of hash out all of the details so you can be productive and you don't just have all of this information and not doing anything with it. As a part of that, learning from the best, you want to now also create a network of people around you, whether it's a small network like a board of directors or it's a big network of people, but you want to build and use your network. Let's look at it from a board of directors standpoint. A lot of people are not clear on what a board of directors, what do they do? What is it for? Well, for a lot of different things, but just for the sake of this conversation, for me, it is to fill the lack of things that I may not have. Remember, I'm surrounding myself with the best. I'm building a network of people around me, and a lot of times those people fill my lack. So I may put someone on my board that is in accounting, that understands the nuances of accounting, or legal experts. You know, put them on the board that because they understand the nuances of the legal realm. I don't want to learn accounting. I don't want to be an attorney. I do what I do, but I have to surround people with myself, build that network of people who can fill my lack. There are people who love to talk on the phone and love to negotiate and love to do those type things. I have a good friend, Jeff Landrum. He's a master negotiator. He can negotiate anything with anybody. That's not my skill set. I'm one of those cats that like, you know, they tell me it costs this much. I like it. Okay, let me get it. But Jeff not having that. He ain't playing. The only thing he's not going to negotiate, he said, is the value of a Rolls Royce. But everything else, it's just, he's going to negotiate. That's a skill that I don't have. So what do I need to do? I may need to put someone on my board that's a master negotiator. Put someone on my board that pays attention to details like a secretary. So that's what I mean when I'm saying build your network or build around you. Now that's from a board of directors standpoint. Well, what if you're talking about a bigger network? Let's just say you're part of, I don't know, a tennis association where you converse with all these tennis players all over the world, and you're talking tennis all the time, whatever it may be. The point is, like minds and like notions should interact with each other. If you want to be like this, then being in the midst of this should help you accelerate your path to success, getting there quicker. Contrary to that, though, remember, um, if you're hanging around negative, toxic people, and all they want to do is gossip and bring other people down and do all of that foolishness, that's slowing down your process, because every minute you're talking about somebody else, you're losing time in terms of building, your future. You're losing time in terms of building your future. I got a friend of mine. Again, I'm not going to call it a name because he may be on this podcast. But every time I see something in social media, you know, that he's posting, it's just all negative stuff about other people. I'm like, who the hell cares? I don't care about what other. Why do you even care about what other people are doing, their life, their skills, their this, their that, who they're dating, do that? Why do you even care? I'm so confused. Somebody please answer that for me. Put it in the chat, send me an email, smoke signal. Why do you care about what other people are doing with their lives? I don't get it. I swear I do not get it. Personally, I don't have time. I don't even have time to tell for you to tell me that this person is this. I don't, that's wasting my life. I have a finite amount of time on earth, and I don't want to waste it worried about somebody else's stuff. That just kind of drives me crazy. So I kind of avoid those things, and I surround and build my network with people who have like minds and like spirits, because that's going to elevate me. And even if I'm not elevated, iron sharpens iron. So what does that mean? That means in order for me to get better, then I have to sharpen my skill set against people who have a very similar type of sharp, aggressive, forward thinking mindset. That's what I mean when I'm talking about building that network. So no matter how small or how big, as a matter of fact, a network can be as small as a supportive family, family or household. Notice the key word supportive. Sometimes the family is the most difficult people to work with, but if you have a supportive family, in a lot of cases, that's all you need to continue to build and grow and just be empowered, because they're going to uplift you. They're going to, be that wind beneath your wings, so to speak, and they're going to give you that energy to continue to grow and to do the things that you need to do. So a supportive family could be a network. All of these things are very, very important. So I want to close out by just talking about, as we close out talking about expanding and accelerating your path to success. One thing that has worked extremely well for me is it's called 10 times thinking. Okay, 10 times thinking. And all that means, it sounds kind of technical, but it's very simple. For me, to think bigger than your actual goals, it helps you get to your actual goals faster. Let me say that again. To think bigger than your actual goals, for me at least, it helps me get to the actual goals a lot faster. For example, if your version of success is to build a six-figure business in, let's say, less than a year, and you may imagine that you wanted to build a seven-figure business in less than a year. And so you start to do the work to build a seven-figure business in less than a year. And in actuality, that speeds up the process of you hitting your actual goal, which is hitting six figures per month six figures, whatever it is in a year, right? Whatever your goal is. So by massively increasing your ultimate vision, then the actions you'll take will be bigger, and that's going to expedite the actual goals. It's really a trick and a play on the mind. as I've said many, many times in the past, um, I'm a student of the mind, hence the book, The Mindset of a Champion. And a lot of times when I say trick the mind has been designed and developed and programmed to seek certain answers. And the way you approach life or questions is how your mind is designed to help you answer those particular questions. So sometimes you have to, trick your mind, if you will. Ask yourself a certain question instead of saying, why am I so fat? Ask yourself, what do I need to do to lose weight? Right? So those are things of the mind, and the mind has to seek an answer. In the midst of that, you want to form, great habits. You want to form habits that will help you speed up that process, habits that will make life clearer for you when you create good habits, great habits, being on time, getting X number of hours of sleep, drinking X number or amount of water, bottles of water per day, so forth and so on. Once you create these habits, it's going to empower you like never before. That's going to be important. And finally, I call this shifting your identity. And all that means is, we have a saying in the business world, fake it till you make it. And that's not literally faking it till you making it. That's developing, here we go again with this word, the mind. That's developing your mind to say, I'm already there even before you're there. That's what it means to say, fake it till you make it, not literally going out and trying to fake it. You'll go broke doing that, trying to buy a car you can't afford, put it at a house you can't afford, or an apartment you don't need to be in, right? Not that kind of fake it till you make it. We're talking about tricking that mindset to believing that you're already there. Subconsciously, you are already there. Subconsciously, I'm already a billionaire. I'm just doing X, Y, and Z for the physical manifestation to match my mindset. But I'm already there. That's what I mean by fake it till you make it. If you want to be a certain thing or do a certain thing, then become that thing first in your mind. That's faking it till you make it. In a lot of cases, you've heard me say this before, become what you seek, and what you seek will come to you. So if you start to fake it till you make it in your mindset, you are a champion. You are a winner. You've already won. When I do meetings, and I do big speeches or, things of that nature or corporate meetings, I always visualize the end of the meeting. I visualize the end results, whether that's getting a standing ovation, whether that's Uber enrollments, whatever it may be. I visualize the success before I even step foot on the stage or whatever it may be. I'm tricking my mind. I'm faking it until I make it. My mind has already seen the success. So when I go out there to execute a speech or go out there to execute a seminar or whatever it may be, it becomes seamless because I've already lived the end result through shifting my identity by faking it till you make it mentally. So hopefully these things, guys, are just some things that'll help you in terms of expediting your process to success, how to get there quicker, how to make 2023 and beyond as profitable and productive as possible. We're going to continue to teach and educate you every single week through our guests, through our solo podcast, whatever we need to do to help you become a better version of who you are and what it is that you want to do. But for now, we want you to do your homework, follow up on the things that I talked about tonight. If you have to go back and listen to this episode again, go back and listen to it again. Listen to some of the things that we talked about, take some notes, and then start executing those things in your life. For those of you who are new, again, welcome to the Deep Dive Podcast. For all of our listeners, please continue to like, subscribe, download, and share. Make sure that you go to the website, thedeepdivepodcast.live, listen to some previous episodes, leave comments, voicemails, suggestions. Join us on our Facebook page, Facebook group, which is the Deep Dive Podcast with Sam Orum, and of course, YouTube channel and all the other platforms. We're on every major podcast platform known to man. So support us, share, like, download, and subscribe. With that, guys, thank you so very much for joining me on this episode of the Deep Dive Podcast. Let's be great. Let's be successful together. And I'll see you on the beaches of the world. God bless. Yeah.